and welcome to the Kongversation Mini! I'm Hyle Russell.
I'm Chad McCanna.
And maybe we should call this Young Kongversation, or Horribly Mangled Fetal Kongversation.
Yeah. We've got plenty of pitches at what we should call this conversation later in the show. I think we have our work cut out for ourselves, Hyle, especially considering we generally try and take an even-handed approach when we discuss things in the news as they pertain to rare and rare properties in the DKU that have a majority negative reaction, which I think Young Conker, by this point, everyone knows what this is.
Well, let's perhaps somebody's coming in from the cold. For example, like I'm recording this. I was actually working during the whole reveal. I had enough time to watch the video, read a little bit, do a Facebook post, but I actually have been away from the internet for most of today. I'm sitting down to talk about Young Conker with you, some 8 hours after the reveal. And yeah, I really don't know what the I presume to know what the reaction is because I know the way these things go.
Yeah.
And all I needed to do was to look at the character model of Conker to know that, no, this isn't going to end well for anybody.
Right. So it's we are in a difficult position because, we do try and contextualize things properly before we react. And I've had, the last 8 hours, as you say, to do that contextualization. And my reaction is still very negative.
You are negative. Now, okay, because I thought, and so let's explain for anybody who doesn't know, who's been living under a cave.
The folks that we went out to Times Square and passed out free tickets to our taping.
Right. They just wanted to avoid being shot by Donald Trump, which he claims he can do.
No, that only happens on Fifth Avenue, Hyle.
Fifth Avenue, okay, yeah. Well, maybe if you would shoot the people
classiest avenue if you want to commit murder on a mass scale from 2016.
If you wanted to shoot people and lose votes, maybe Times Square, because nobody wants to see off-brand Elmo get shot.
No, he's a beloved New York icon.
Last night, yesterday...
That's another thing Young Conker looks like. Off-brand Elmo.
Yeah, he is the Times Square version of Conker, trying to force your family to pay for a picture with him. In an ideal world, there would be off-brand Times Square Conkers and banjos and Rodney the Hares and all manner of beloved DKU icons. Unfortunately, the world we live in, instead, they're made into video games instead. But
right. Inside Young Conker is a surly teamster who didn't pay his union dues.
Oh, Chad, this is America in 2016. There are no unions anymore. So anyway, last night, we got a leak. Fortune, the esteemed magazine about fortune, and which I know nothing of since I am a pseudo-millennial / Gen Yer who has no money. Fortune, support DK Vinyl Patreon. Fortune accidentally posted a article that was meant for today, so we got this news leaking out yesterday, sans any images. So all we had was the information that Young Conker, which we had talked about a couple episodes ago on the Conversation proper, the rumors that have been brewing for about a month now. We got confirmation that Young Conker was coming for the Microsoft HoloLens, which, Chad, you and I are actually pretty positive about. The HoloLens, we saw it at E3 2015. It looked utterly amazing. It's not really VR. People are calling it VR. It's more augmented reality.
Yeah.
Which there is a difference because VR is essentially putting you in another world, where augmented reality brings another world into yours.
Yeah, or at least puts elements in your world.
Right.
And while we are like the demo we watched at E3 in real time, which was kind of mind-blowing, was this Minecraft demo you can still find on YouTube.
This is before you got into Minecraft, which was fortunate for me because I would have had to wear a smock from all the wetness that would have been radiating from your seat.
Yeah, you, Amir, and Steve would have been in those first 5 rows at SeaWorld.
The splash zone, right?
No, but it's impressive technology. I don't think either of us have used it personally because the
lines were too long at E3, and we wanted to talk with people from Rare and make them uncomfortable.
Yeah,
so
if we had actually gotten to use HoloLens, we would have never been deputized as the arbiters of Tip Top Sweet Cannon by Pete Hentz. So I think we did the right thing.
Speaking of splash zones, yeah, I wanted to try out the HoloLens. I wanted to try out the Oculus Rift, which is more in the line of virtual reality. But
yes.
Unfortunately, the lines were too massive. We didn't want to blow an entire day at E3 just trying to play those for 5 minutes, especially when we had obligations to DK Vine itself.
Yeah, so instead we blew an entire day at E3 trying to play Star Fox Zero.
You and Mitchell Wolf tried to do that.
Right.
By that point, I was just not feeling it, and I was eavesdropping on Nintendo of Japan employees urinating. So,
that's right.
Good times. I can't wait for this year. So yeah, the HoloLens I was impressed with, and I remember even watching the Minecraft demonstration thinking, I really would like to see something Donkey Kong Universe with a HoloLens. Like, imagine like Banjo or something running around your living room. I guess.
Well,
I mean, I got my wish because, as announced in the Fortune article, one of the first 3 games developed for the HoloLens that will be packaged with the HoloLens Development Edition. Mm-hmm. And this is where I freaked out last night. A lot of people freaked out because we saw the price tag of the Development Edition for the HoloLens to be sold to businesses and game developers was $3,000.
And this is targeted toward indie devs, and that's actually pretty cheap as far as dev kits go.
Yeah. So, but out of context, just in this leaked Fortune article, without any other information to go off of, it was like, oh, the HoloLens is $3,000, and this is just an expensive toy for the Koch brothers of the world. This is not meant for peons like me who actually want to play a Conker game. That's not the case.
You've already played a Conker game. You collected upwards of $1 million in cash. This should be a pittance.
So according to Microsoft, the HoloLens, they're taking their time with it because they don't want a repeat of the Kinect, because the Kinect, all this money poured into that, came out with all this fanfare, and they didn't have the software to really justify it.
Mm-hmm. The hardware, they made a lot of crazy claims about the Kinect. Even the second generation Kinect on the one that could, see your blood temperature, your heartbeat, like all this kind of Big Brother-y sort of stuff. That was the unfortunate subtext to all the Kinect announcements. This is our first
Kongversation Mini without X-Files references, but I'm pretty sure Tad O'Malley did warn us about the dangers of the Kinect.
Right, it's in your living room watching you masturbate and telling you when your blood pressure is rising dangerously high from masturbation.
But if you have alien DNA, that's no problem.
No problem whatsoever, as long as your blood doesn't blow up. So first of all, the HoloLens, they've made some pretty amazing claims about it, and we saw a demonstration in studio lighting, perfect conditions on a pre-established table that they were pointing the HoloLens at. How this reacts in crazy lighting situations in an environment that's not the development environment in Bordeaux, France.
If you live in a crack house like I do, I can't imagine how this would work if you don't have perfect angles.
But Hyle, Conker can jump from syringe to syringe. It's an amazing recontextualization of a platforming game. Basically, this is it's a development kind of prototype, a tech demo, is literally demonstrating the technology.
Like Super Mario 64.
Right?
Am I right? Yeah.
It basically, I think what they're trying to show off here is how the HoloLens can recognize elements of your room or your surroundings and turn them into interactive 3D elements, which the Kinect kind of already did, just not in a wearable format.
Right. I mean, this is basically taking the Kinect and basically projecting it outwards.
Mm-hmm. And doing motion tracking in the device natively with minimal lag.
Which I'm all about. Like, people are like, last night when this broke, people were dismissing it as virtual reality bullshit. And this is the future of gaming, whether we like it or not, whether it's going to happen as fast as predicted or not. They've been predicting stuff like this since I was a kid in the early 90s. No, before the Virtual Boy, the VR craze of the early 90s, which was all smoke and mirrors in the end. But ultimately, this is what they were saying we were headed. And they're right. I mean, honestly, the Oculus Rift, the HoloLens, they both do different things, but I think they're definitely not tools to be dismissed. I'm optimistic about both, and maybe it's a folly to be because gamers are stuck in their ways. But
I would lean more towards. I've played the Rift, and I would honestly lean more toward it being the future because it's a self-contained environment, and that vibrancy and that immersion is kind of lost whenever you have a tiny figure running around your stupid coffee table.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying the HoloLens is the future. I'm saying it is a step along the way to the future.
So I think part of the problem with the messaging of this is that they have done people read this article or even the Cliff's Notes. This
article that wasn't supposed to be released until today, with all the relative media fanfare and stuff from Microsoft, not just it being relayed through a third-party source like Fortune.
Right, and they see the $3,000 price tag, which obviously is absurd for the average consumer. You would never try and launch a piece of software or hardware for a wide audience at that price point. That's insane.
That's more than an arcade machine.
Right.
So, yeah, it's. And honestly, once I sobered up, it didn't take me long to realize this is ridiculous. Plus, Young Conker was accidentally leaked on the Windows Store, which tells me that there is going to be actually a HoloLens for the retail masses when they're ready, and
I think that the development is done. I mean, even in the video for Young Conker, there's a YouTube video, and we'll be doing some YouTube comment theater later in the show.
Oh,
but on the YouTube video, they said that it's natively Windows 10, and that applies to both the dev editions and I assume the inevitable end product.
Yes.
So there's that side of it, but people are thinking of this as a Conker game that uses tech they don't want, has a terrible design for Conker, and costs $3,000. So obviously Microsoft has not done a great job of kind of selling the fact that this is a development edition, that a tech demo, and I think that they really shouldn't even be referring to it as a game. It's just a demo.
Game. It's a demo of a game. I mean, it's
right, but game is a loaded term. I mean, yes, it is literally a game, but I think when people hear a game from Microsoft on Windows with Conker, they're thinking retail product.
Yes, and granted, my impression is the plan is to have a retail product version of this eventually, right?
I don't know. That's a big unknown for us. This could be something akin to Project Spark, where it's kind of a germ of an idea, and then it ultimately kind of peters out.
Well, I think maybe they need to run it through some focus groups and see what the public thinks.
Yeah, well, the public has spoken, and so that's the positive. That's about as much good as I can say, is that the price tag is being misinterpreted, and it's not necessarily the Conker adventure that everyone wants to play. It's really just to show off the fact that you can make any shape run and bounce around on your walls and your coffee table.
Okay, so here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Everything came out this morning.
Yeah.
And I was in the shower getting ready to leave for work when it all exploded.
Mm-hmm.
And I had enough time to watch the video, get a reaction from myself, which was kind of, I'm positive about anything rare. I try to be positive walking into it, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I learned my lesson from the dark days of 2008 or so.
And this is, by the way, let's be very clear. This is not rare. This is a rare intellectual property. Chris Seaver is doing the voice, and I would venture a guess that facilitating that relationship with Chris Seaver may be about all Rare had to do with this.
I think Rare probably gave them some notes, much the same way they did with Team Dakota and Project Spark. But yes,
but Team Dakota and Project Spark, that interpretation of Conker was so much truer to who Conker is as a character and even in design that, I mean, this is such a weird tone-deaf divergence. I have a hard time believing that just a year later, Rare would just, yep, go for it. That's fantastic. It doesn't seem like the same.
It's Asobo Studios.
In France.
In France, yes. So let's just be clear who is developing this. I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, but okay, so the video was released, and
throw them under the bus by describing the thing that they developed and launched to the public.
Well, no, I'm not saying like don't blame Rare, guys. Blame these clowns over in France. You know, the people who made the Donkey Kong Country cartoon. You know, France.
No, I'm just saying it doesn't
bring back freedom fries, guys. Come on, this is ridiculous.
It would seem strange if Rare gave the same rubber stamp to this that they did to Project Spark, because that one was more faithful. That's all I'm saying.
Project Spark was incredibly faithful, and people downvoted the hell out of that too, which I think is ultimately a shame, because I think Chris Seaver even had a comment on Twitter today basically lauding the Project Spark design of Conker in a kind of which was interesting.
And I think, honestly, I think the Project Spark design for Conker, that would be my vision for what that character should be. I think that design is better than the ones we got from Rare.
Better than the ones we got like with Live and Reloaded, or are you saying like from
it's
all
better
of
than
them?
the bad fur. I mean, they either had too little furry shenanigans or too much, and I think that given the style of what Conker is, this kind of Tex Avery cartoon in a video game context, what Project Spark had, that sort of angular style that was already embedded in the Project Spark aesthetic, worked so perfectly for Conker that I really feel like that's what Conker should be. That's how Conker should look.
Maybe people will give Big Reunion another shot now. Maybe this is the redeeming moment for Project Spark. Because I loved Project Spark for what it was. Big Reunion in Project Spark. Conker's Big Reunion Episode 1 in Project Spark. People did not give that a fair shake. I don't even know how to describe how Conker looks. Let me pull up the image here. Okay. Oh my God.
So, before we reached out to the DK Vine staff. It's Monday night. We have our weekly DK Vine staff Skype call where we kind of all sync up on what's happened in the week and the week to come. And I asked them to volunteer some descriptions, Judd Apatow style. You could be TJ Miller in Deadpool, Hyle. And we also reached out to our Patreon inner circle for some reactions to what Conker looks like. So before we get into those, and there are a lot of them, let's talk about what's going on in this video. Conker is running and jumping around sofas and surfaces, but he's wearing a strange spacesuit.
It looks like something that you would wear in Tron.
Yeah, and he's got like a tactical microphone, as if he's like operating a sex chat hotline. But this is young Conker. He would never do that. He says heck. He's keeping it clean.
But yeah, he's like wearing a tracksuit.
Tracksuit. They're called speed suits, Hyle.
He's got some sort of, I thought it was like a Walkman or something, because I was like, young Conker, well, this is going to have to be like Conker in the 90s, so he would have a Walkman. But no, I don't know what this is. Like a power pack, a battery pack. I don't even know what this is.
There's a strange section where he's flying a hovercraft propeller thing through the air, like a jetpack with a big helicopter blade. And then there's another where he's fighting what looks like Professor Von Krippelspack in a mech. I guess it's young Professor Von Krippelspack.
Or youngish, considering he might be over he might be over like 300 years old, depending on the lore of the game.
From the Milk Wars.
Okay, I mean, who cares what Conker's wearing? Because, granted,
I kind of do. What is
okay,
this?
but like, Donkey Kong's wearing an Evel Knievel jumpsuit in Skylander Superchargers, and I think he looks great there.
That's a fair point.
So, why can't Conker be wearing a jumpsuit? Everybody gets tracksuits. Everybody's in the mob now.
All right.
So, okay, big deal. Okay, the problem with his design is, well, everything else.
Yeah, it's like this top-heavy, spindly armed. Well, should we read through some of these things?
Okay, if you want. I mean, look, if you're listening to this on YouTube or SoundCloud or Stitcher, just look at the art we provide.
Yeah, and volunteer more suggestions of your own in the comments below. I really am reticent to get negative with this because that's feeding into the thing that we hate so much about the internet.
Feeding into it, but honestly, when I saw the way he looked, I screamed. I screamed just a little bit.
It's bad. It's objectively bad character design.
Before we get into the haha bash fest that our staff and Inner Circle members helped write, I would like to just address this point that I do not understand.
Sure.
Okay. Why would Microsoft rubber stamp this? Because somebody would say people are going to hate this. Like we've already coming out of Nuts and Bolts, which was still like a Rare developed great game that just wasn't what people were looking for at the time. And coming out of the reaction to Project Spark and the misnomers that are abound about how Microsoft treats Rare properties, why would you allow such a radical reinvention of Conker when you know it's going to be shit upon?
Yeah, it's this really extremely tone deaf way of yeah. It's like
honestly, I can roll with it because I think in part of my brain the fan in me that ultimately it's just gonna laugh and be like, I mean, I've seen shit, Chad. I've seen shit in my day. I've seen gorillas playing bongos. I've seen it's fine, whatever. I'm all for the ludicrous nature of what we get in DKU. It's fine. But I know how people are going to react. And I'm cringing because when I was watching this video, I was literally cringing, not because necessarily what I was seeing was so off model and wrong with the wrong tone, but I was cringing because I knew what the reaction was going to be.
Yes, and it's all going to be directed at Rare. None of it will go to Asobo Studios.
So, a lot of it's going to Microsoft,
right?
But in a way that Microsoft ruined Rare, and which is also the wrong statement to be making, which is the wrong mindset. But it feeds into that narrative so well. It's just
we're coming up on
it's catnip.
Conker's Bad Fur Day's 15th anniversary is like next week or this week. We're coming up on it.
Yeah.
And yet Rare is completely hamstrung. They have no way of celebrating that now because this is all they'll get in return. They just came off a fantastic Viva Pinata theme week, and now all of that goodwill, and they had some fantastic features and videos, is gone. People are only going to be throwing ire from Conker at Rare for at least the next whatever their news cycle is. It's that was my reaction too. It was just, oh God, the poor Rare community.
Especially
team.
Since Rare's been doing such a good job about reclaiming that spirit, about reclaiming the past, and at least winning over a portion of the fan base saying, hey, we're still Rare. We never stop being Rare.
Yeah.
Come back around. Let's see what we got. Have a laugh.
And this is just another dose of gasoline on top of that fire.
Right. And like my issues with this, despite the fact that the model is completely shittiest. And yes, I'm portmanteauing that. I'm portmanteauing that because it's worthy of it. But the model is just trash, and I feel comfortable. I'm glad you agree because I thought I was succumbing to the negative streak that I know I sometimes succumb to. See our Smash Brothers episodes for that.
I mean, if we were universally positive about this, we would be fucking sellouts because this is just bad. It's like, here's the thing, the tech could be cool, and that's the other bad thing about this. The use of Conker as an intellectual property to sell this tech is so wrong-headed, because now the people who might have been interested in the HoloLens are completely distracted by the mangling of the Conker property.
Right. I want to play this game. That's the thing. Like, I actually would love to sit down with it. I just can't get past the awful design.
Yeah, it's like they are not controlling their narrative, their presentation, this debut of the HoloLens to the indie development scene at all. It's so misguided.
Why did they pick Conker? That's my question.
And why young Conker, too? If this is just a tech demo, why introduce what seems like a story element into it?
Well, I assume there's a story element, especially if like a bunch of characters appear. We know TNA wrestler Ken Anderson is doing a voice for it. So
that's true. Feiho is in it.
Is the Feiho in it?
Yeah, well, at least in the key art. Not in the video itself.
Because I just saw coins.
In the video, there was actually, very briefly, there was what looked like a manila folder with googly eyes that said top secret on it.
Okay. Because I saw the coins, and I was like, coins? In Conker? Like, what is this?
Yeah, they're dollar coins. I guess Susan B. Anthony needs to have her time in the sun.
All right, well... Yeah, I like I said, I want to be positive about the game or the demo or whatever this ultimately ends up as. I want to be positive about it because, who knows, maybe this is never actually something that's ever released to retail outlets, or like it's never something you can actually download on HoloLens. I assume it will be, but given the negative reaction, maybe they're just going to quietly, take it out back before there's any actual massive retail release, or maybe they're going to make a new design for Conker. I don't know, but
just use the Project Spark design. That's a freebie. You guys can have that.
Okay. Well, do you want to say anything more about the design, or should we read what young Conker looks like to our staff and to our inner circle members?
I think that it's just a very, very strange use of IP that is not benefiting Conker, it's not benefiting Rare, Microsoft, nor the HoloLens development team.
Here's the thing. I think they saw the figures from Rare Replay, saw Conker was so massively popular, and decided, well, we're going to give them a Conker game. But it's that tone deafness, that oblivious nature of this is exactly what's going to make people get on your bad side. This is not what you want to do to build brand loyalty.
And the great thing about Conker's Bad Fur Day is that this squirrel is deposited in a batshit crazy world, not your shitty apartment. That's the joy of Conker, is running around this crazy world where anything can happen right around the corner. It's not battling a mech on the rug you got from IKEA.
Although that could be, I mean, there'd be some great commentary there. If the batshit insane world that Conker finds himself in is your life,
Yeah, it just seems like another. It feels a lot like the criticism I had of Project Spark, which got it a lot better, but it still felt like a collection of mini games, with no real through line. And I know that ultimately Conker's Bad Fur Day is a collection of mini games, but it has that through line. This just seems, it's a tech demo. It seems like there are a couple distinct things that you can do, and I guess if you're out of floor space, he runs on the walls. I don't know.
Okay, well, let's read some of these.
All right. You want to take the first one?
All right. Young Conker looks like if Conker was flattened by a steamroller. True.
Young Conker looks like the CGI redesign of Chuck E. Cheese through the prism of Hyle Russell having a nightmare.
I've never had a nightmare about Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know who was responsible for that one. Young Conker,
rattle through these.
Yeah. Young Conker looks like a late 2000s live-action Hanna-Barbera adaptation of direct-to-DVD quality.
I got to get a little Seth Rogen going if we're going to do the Apatow thing.
Oh, okay.
Young Conker looks like a potential mascot for an off-brand breakfast cereal that didn't make it past the concept phase.
Young Conker looks like a young Conker the Squirrel, only not younger and not much like Conker the Squirrel.
Young Conker looks like an off-brand Alvin and the Chipmunk.
A younger cartoony Conker face with Doug Funny's body.
Young Conker looks like an avocado that had sex with another avocado. Oh, there's the Deadpool thing. Okay.
Yeah. For more on that, see the upcoming Kongversation for this weekend. Young Conker looks like Monster Max after a botched liposuction.
Ooh, another famous rare IP. Young Conker looks like Ickis from Real Monsters.
I remember Ickis. Young Conker looks like Ickis from Real Monsters. Penis.
What? Oh, that's the nature of improv. Young Conker looks like a Jimmy Neutron character rejected for not being ugly enough.
Young Conker looks like the Carfax Fox. Show me the Carfax.
Young Conker looks like a Bratz doll.
Young Conker looks like that thing on the front of the box for the old PC game Creatures. I have no concept of that.
That's extremely specific.
Yeah.
Young Conker looks like a gecko crossbred with a tube sock.
Young Conker looks like any of the dickheads from DreamWorks animated feature posters.
Yeah, Young Conker looks like David Cross as the acid-burned Titanica fan off of Mr. Show.
Wow, that's a deep cut. Young Conker looks like a plastic marionette from the 40s, but slightly melted.
That might be the most accurate one. Young Conker looks like the guy from the Pepper Army adverts.
That's a Matt thing, it must be.
Oh yeah, that's got to be a UK reference.
Young Conker looks like an advertising icon in a commercial that turns out to be ironically taking the piss out of cartoon advertising icons. Okay,
little convoluted logic there. So so we've all had our fun raking the Young Conker design over the coals, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, but obviously we were right. The reaction online has been, I would say, cataclysmic. It's been all hands on deck. This is not a drill. The fans are pissed.
I mean, the nice thing, as we said, is that it's a tech demo. We have no way of knowing this is the actual direction for even this Conker game, if there is a game, much less the entire Conker
series. But the fact that they're promoting it, that there's videos, that there's art on Microsoft website, if this was just a tech demo for developers, they didn't need to really go all out like this. This could have just been a stick figure, man. Like, why is
it could have been Mr. Pants?
Why is Cripples back there? Like, what? I mean, I don't get me wrong. Part of me is flattered as a Donkey Kong Universe / Conker fan that they chose Conker for this, because yeah, I know how my brain works. I would be thinking if they announced 3 games for the HoloLens, what, they couldn't use a rare property for one of them. But be careful what you wish for, I guess. That being said, let's see. I don't ordinarily like to embrace the negativity of YouTube comments, but in this case,
it's a cesspool.
In this case, since we're all thinking it, let's just say it.
Well, I might not be thinking necessarily what's coming up next, which is our YouTube comment theater, but I think it's a pretty good example of a negative reaction taken to an absurd, unnecessary extreme.
Right. So...
And a lot of these are going to embody that same wrong-headed, stupid, absurd, toxic, false narrative that all the good people at Rare left in 2002. Rare can't manage its own IP, yada, yada. I mean, people aren't even going far enough to watch the damn video where they reveal that Rare didn't develop this thing.
Like we said, it's just feeding already toxic narrative that is false. But ultimately, this is just more fuel for the fire. It's going to make, especially since we run our individual social media pages for DK Vine, me, Facebook, you, Twitter. It's going to make our lives extremely tough talking about any of this for the next few weeks. But I really pity Rare, because they don't deserve the backlash that they're going to get.
Their community team is fantastic. Emma, Lee, Cameron, they are all brilliant at what they do, and they've done such a great job with their theme weeks, with all the Rare replay promotions, all these videos. And I really think it's tragic that this is going to overshadow at least in the immediate future, all of that goodwill.
So that being said, let's pour more gasoline to this fire and read the YouTube comments.
I just want to. Joe would love this. I want to put a spotlight on how how absurd it can get, and hopefully we can kind of laugh at that. That's
exactly.
my objective with this YouTube comment theater.
Ultimately, this is just a tech demo on a new piece of hardware. It's really nothing to get up in arms about.
This is new podcasting technology, this whole YouTube reading thing.
This isn't like Sakurai sliding K. Rool, which is worthy of rage. This is just, oh, that's weird. And that's really where my anger is coming from. It's just the tone-deaf nature of the way they went about this.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about the project itself.
Like, how can they not understand the very delicate nature of Rare IP and the fan community in a world with Platonic, in a world with the buyout, in a world where
In a world gone mad.
in a world where Rare Replay doesn't feature GoldenEye. You know, I mean, and people still don't understand why that is. You know, how can they just in a cavalier fashion throw, you know, Conker into this without realizing that people have been clamoring for a new Conker game? By the way, let's just ignore the fact that Conker games never sell. They never sell. Hey, public, if you want a new Conker game, maybe you should have bought the ones they already put out.
Right.
They never sell well, and that's the tragedy of Conker.
The tragedy of Conker.
The tragedy of Conker.
My favorite William Shakespeare sonnet. Yeah. All right, let's read these. Let's read these.
All right. I'm gonna. Hey, would you like to do it in our like Niles and Frasier, like our albino squirrel voices?
It's been a while. It's been about a decade, but okay. I'll let you start. Maybe get me in that mindset.
Jesus Christ, what is this?
Give me that deformed LSD nightmare goblin.
And there, beside a baby Luke and a little boy Han Solo, is young Conker.
What does that even mean?
What? Why love the Star Wars references?
Okay. Well, time to kill myself for this.
Perfectly reasonable reaction. Thanks. I really want to play Bad Fur Day in my SNES with crack.
Wait, what?
What?
Why the fuck did you not learn last time you did this with Banjo? Fuck Rare, fuck Micro Shaft.
You're damn right. Just talking about Microshaft.
I can dig it.
Yeah. Oh heck? Conker doesn't say oh heck. He says oh hell, oh shit, oh fuck. Conker is not some G-rated shit show for kids and retards. Ooh, okay. I regret this immediately. It's an M17 game with graphic violence, sexual content, toilet humor of the most obscene variety. The cute fuzzy animals are part of the joke, as juxtaposition for their surroundings. Clearly, this person gets it.
Spoken like a true connoisseur.
In all caps.
Although I should say Conker does not say oh shit and oh fuck.
No.
All right. DreamWorks called. They want their design for Hammy, in parentheses, over the hedge back.
Oh, hey. So the one saying they look like dickheads from DreamWorks movies was right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Take me seriously and Rare. Microsoft has its fans, and all the gold that is Rare, you do literal meat shit like this. Only really look at it compared to the original Conker. You like or at all similar Asos, let alone franchises, are not coyendo. And if so, they will do that Nintendo and return it. Already! Stop!
Charlie Kelly from It's Always Sunny. One time I sketched up a gameplay concept that could be used in a new Conker game, where Conker steals one of Jugga's bras and uses it to parachute down into an underground brothel filled with barnyard animals and gimp suits to rescue some fat cow mafia princess. That's the sort of humor Conker needs.
Say that again.
That's the sort of humor Conker needs, and what these idiots tragically don't get about Conker.
Wait, let's recap. Steal Jugga's bra, parachute into a brothel to rescue a fat cow mafia princess, and that's what Conker needs. Okay.
That's exactly what. Why doesn't Microsoft hire this person?
Well, they've clearly identified it. It's because these people at Microsoft are idiots, and they tragically don't get it. I told you, the tragedy of Conker. Why the fuck would I want my room to be the game world? My room is cramped and sucks ass. Why wouldn't I want to play a game in a big, new, crazy, far-out world, dumb motherfuckers? Fuck you!
There we go. All right. You suck. Conker didn't need pants. A bunch of PC crap. Well,
I think that might be my favorite one.
I'm glad we know how Donald Trump thinks.
Look, I'm just going on record. I think that animals wearing pants is a mistake. It's the kind of thing that you'd see in Mexico, frankly. That's why we're building the wall 10 feet higher. Higher than that, the Mexican president can swear, but now Conker can't.
Look, I just want to make Willow Woods great again.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.